Hello, welcome everybody to our celebration of the life of Jenny, Mum, Granny. Can I just check first of all, can you hear me in the back?
Yes.
Great. This is a celebration, not a funeral. We seek to celebrate and commemorate. I hope you can smile in memory of Jenny. In terms of hire for the hall, they require me to complete a short induction to the premises. In the event of an emergency, I'm sure there are exits somewhere, and I'm hoping somebody else knows and we can follow them. Please do try and keep up. There are some defects I need to make you aware of. The Perry family, mother's maiden name, have a DNA glitch, which can frequently and sometimes unexpectedly result in overactive ocular ducts. This may become an issue today, and we beg your patience with this. I'd like to start by speaking a little bit about our location. We're here in one of the most beautiful places on this planet, Blockley. Mum's chosen home for the last 20-ish years. For our friends from further afield, this is the Cotswolds. For our friends from Shipston, posh, isn't it? Hope you brought your passport to get back across the Foss. And for our friends from Blockley, don't worry, I'm sure your butler will send a carriage for you shortly. Regardless of the timing, it's always difficult to have to organise a celebration such as this. But it did occur to me that this is the first time in my life I've organised something for my mum that she won't criticise. I'm sure the thing that would upset Mum the most would be to know that so many people she valued are together and that she's missing out. We're hugely grateful for the presence of every single one of you. I need to explain a little bit about today, where we find ourselves both in time and place. Mum was actively and resolutely atheist. Her belief was in people. She was quite clear about her wishes. No churches. She also hated crematoria. I deliberated about the plural of crematorium for longer than I should. I should have Googled it, but that takes some of the romance out of the language. And I don't care what you do with my body. The preferred option was the green wheelie bin, but this is amongst the things denied by Cotswold District Council with petty little rules. Remains seems such a horrid description, but the last vestiges of her will be scattered in Dovedale Woods tomorrow. She would, I think, want to remain somewhere. She would, I think, want to remain somewhere she lived and loved so much. There were two poles that Mum's life revolved around. Those were people and passion, passionate about people. She fought with conviction for her beliefs, which always revolved around people. She had a professional career in the wonderful, diverse, multi-ethnic community of Brixton. She didn't find adjustment to the Cotswolds initially that easy. She took some convincing that it was possible, perhaps even a rewarding on occasion, to be friends with a Tory. Intriguingly, both the Perry children, and by children I mean both now retirees, Mum and her brother David, found homes in the Cotswolds. Obviously David picked the wrong end in Painswick, frankly even the wrong side of Cheltenham, but we've been able to convince him to come and smell the sweeter air of the North Cotswolds, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about Mum.
Thank you, Dan and Miles. Thank you, Dan, and Dan and Cal and Kate for arranging this celebration. I did say when I walked in this morning, it's going to be packed, and I'm right, aren't I? So thank you so much for the people of Blockley who've turned out as we expected. Because Jenny, I think, was a bit of a feature in this village, and it's lovely to see family who've come from far and wide. Ron, who's going to speak in a moment, my cousin, come all the way from Scotland, and I'm glad to say, and proud to say, my daughter from Atlanta, Georgia, has come all the way as well. So, Lee is here as well, Jenny's partner of 20 years, and our special welcome, special guest, Lee. Thank you. Managing to get here, that's great. So, Jenny was, like any parent, was very proud of her children and what they'd achieved in life, not least being the stability in their partnerships, no separations or divorces in this generation.
Yet.
That's quite an achievement though, isn't it? Yeah, I remember them having a great deal of independence as older children, teenagers and the like, showing the trust their mum had in them, and they've both grown to be capable people, and I'm sure partly as a result of that. And she, of course, maintained close contact with them despite the geography throughout their adult lives. Even closer was her relationship to her only grandchild, Morgan. Where is he? Hiding at the back as ever, but he's too tall to disappear. Here with his partner Tabby. Some Blockley residents will know Morgan for his time at the school here, where Jenny would spend a lot of time looking after him. She doted on him. However, there was the odd time when, following a restaurant meal at the top of a mountain, when Jenny and Morgan were in Austria together with friends, she went back to where they were staying before remembering that she'd left him behind at the top of the mountain. But she did go back for him, so he's here with us today. I know there are people here from many different parts of Jenny's life, many of whom will have little insight into other aspects. She was retired after all for nearly 20 years. So we're going to take our time a little and cover quite a lot, so I hope you're reasonably comfortable, those of you who are standing. Our parents, Jenny and I, ran Nina, married at the beginning of 1939, and Jenny was a wartime baby, born in 1942. Quite astonishing really to me that they would have had their first child over 2 years into a world war, but people couldn't put their lives entirely on hold. Our father was an engineer, so in a reserved occupation, busy building bombers for the RAF, diverted from his job at London Transport. So Jenny and I remember rationing, especially of sweets. One of my earliest memories, being 2.5 years younger, is of shopping in Wembley High Street, which is where we grew up, when her mother had given Jenny some ration cards to go and buy something, and I went with her. Inevitably, she lost them, and there was hell to pay, and of course that's why I remember it. As she grew, she became known, not least by our mother, as a tomboy, due to her strength and willingness to jump into trouble. One particular jump, when aged about 10 years, involved a pole vault across a large muddy puddle in the unfinished garden of our new house. An unfortunate landing led to whales and a tetanus injection, all of which again made it memorable to me, of course. So to teenage years. I didn't really appreciate it at the time, but she grew out of that tomboy label to become a classic English rose, and even I understood that she was extremely attracted to boys, other than me, of course. She even went out with my scout patrol leader, which I was quite in awe of at the time. Unlike many teenage girls, especially today, she hadn't lost her active side and was an accomplished teenage ice skater. Did you know that? Yeah. Practicing at Wembley Ice Rink every Saturday. She even had her own pair of lush white leather skating boots. I was jealous. Regularly sharpened by her father because she could do some of the splendid moves. I was very jealous, but spent more time watching Wembley Lions ice hockey at the same rink. Now I'm going to call on our cousin Ron, and he'll explain his location in the family. Where are you, Ron?
Thank you. So, hello everybody. Hello. I'm Ron Bailey, and I'm one of Jenny's many cousins, but with an added connection, I think. Jenny's mother, Nina, was the twin sister of my dad, Tom. And perhaps because of that quirk of DNA, I've always felt especially close to Jenny throughout all my adult life. Certainly when I faced really difficult times, hers would be the telephone number that I would dial, knowing that she'd always answer, and she'd give me a sympathetic hearing before going on to give me stern, no-nonsense, good advice, pull yourself up, get on with it. You can take the woman out of the school, but you can't take the school teacher out of the woman, it seems. I'm going to miss that enormously. But my childhood memories of Jenny are a glamour. I was one of the younger cousins of a huge Bailey family. And to a 10-year-old boy, Jenny, along with cousins Sylvia, Valerie, Christine, well, they looked like goddesses, and I was smitten. I remained so throughout all the decades. Jenny looked as gorgeous at her 80th birthday party as she did as a stunning 18-year-old. I hope that, even though her absence will be a huge void in any future occasion, we can honour her memory by continuing to come together as one big family. Thank you.
Jenny's greatest burden and subsequent success came from schooling. As an August baby, having failed the dreaded 11 plus, she was allowed a second go after a further year in primary school. A so-called failure again the second time, she went to a local secondary modern school, and just to rub it in, I passed the exam the following year. I went to grammar school. What was the outcome? She worked like stink and I passed, she worked like stink and passed a whole batch of very respectable O-levels, whereas I lazed around for 5 years and got very few. Whilst this was a clear pointer to her determination in life, the twin so-called failures burnt deep within her. So when she reached 60, I was delighted to attend her master's degree graduation in London's prestigious Barbican, but also quite taken aback when she descended from the stage with her certificate rolled up and said to me, "See, if you can do it, I can." The damage that exam did and does to children is incalculable, and I speak from a background of educating people who failed 11 pluses to get degrees themselves. And there's a picture amongst the ones revolving here of Jenny in her mortarboard, which you might enjoy. So succeeding at O-level, she came on to my grammar school to succeed at A-level, and no one here will be surprised to know that included home economics, both cookery and needlework. Being a girl in 1960, that meant teacher training would follow, as it did, at Leicester Training College. After scrapping for many years as brother and sister, we then found a new equilibrium as good friends, which I'm glad to say we maintained throughout our lives, each offering the other support at our times of extreme need. Incredible though it must seem to today's youngsters, Jenny and her friend from college, Mary, went hitchhiking across Europe when about 19 years old. And one lift they had, so the story remains with me, was from a sleek Italian in a convertible, who picked them up and was very taken with Jenny. And they remained friends throughout their lives, but he's unable to be here. But here's what he wrote to us. From Alfredo Roma, Modena, Italy. A very special friendship has bound me and Jenny for 65 years. The lives of our families have intersected on many occasions over such a long period of time. We've spent some summer holidays together and our children played together in great harmony. We've always shared the happy and sad moments of our lives. I have vivid memories of every moment spent together. In 1961, I spent the entire month of September in London, and Jenny was my guide to visit London properly and to let me love England as my second homeland. My children and the children of my Italian friends were accommodated by Jenny in her house while studying English, and all of them appreciated her friendly hospitality. I know that Jenny has always taken an active part in the life of the communities where she has lived, and on many occasions she helped fragile old people with great generosity. I'm sure that the community of Blockley also mourns the loss of Jenny. A famous Italian poet, Ugo Foscoli, who died in England in 1827, in his poem The Sepulchres said, "He alone who leaves no legacy of affection has few joys in his urn." Jenny certainly leaves a great legacy of affection that lets us feel her presence permanently. Thank you, Jenny. We hope that another life exists to meet you again. With love, Alfreda. After a year or so working in Watford after she qualified as a teacher, she moved to Clapham, and then found her true vocation. She soon retrained from junior school teaching to infants, now called early years, which she went for with a passion. Colleagues from that period will speak of her with great pride. Claire and others are here. Where's Claire? Right, and how many out of you?
Three.
Three of you. This is from a woman who retired 18 years ago. That speaks volumes. Thank you for coming. Lost my place. Yes, I remember well visiting her Brixton Nursery, Maytree, and being greeted with hello and welcome in 52 different languages on the wall as you went in, all spoken by the pupils. Every one of them mattered passionately to Jenny as she developed her own ways of working, centred on the needs of each individual child with efficiency and effectiveness. She created a pioneering system. To do this, she trained her own staff, mostly from teaching assistant appointments, and deservedly won a national training award for the quality of her staff development. Looking after others. Typical. Jenny was the best of us for keeping in touch with our many cousins, as Helen, our youngest cousin, near youngest cousin, she corrected me, who's here today, again testifies, and Kate's going to kindly read Helen's short piece.
Yes. Luckily, I am tall enough to reach this mic. Thanks, Dan. From Helen McHugh, one of Jenny's youngest cousins. Jenny had just turned 14 when I was born, a baby cousin for her to take under her wing. I obviously can't remember, but I have seen the photos. One of us on the beach, probably Eastbourne, springs to mind. I was about a year old then, both of us in our cozies sitting on a lilo. Another lovely photo I have is of us together as bridesmaids to another cousin, Valerie, who can't be here today. I have very happy memories of a couple of Bailey family get-togethers. I'd like to be at more of these Bailey family get-togethers. They sound like fun. Most recently at Towton Lodge, arranged by Jenny, the only person organised enough to get us all together. It's a bit like herding kittens. Special times are a very rare occurrence for many of us cousins to be together. I have also enjoyed a spa weekend with Jenny and Sylvia a few years ago. Another cousin who can't be here. We had a great couple of days. I also had a fabulous week away with Jenny Lee and my husband Charlie at Jenny's apartment in Mallorca in 2019. Although she did tell me off a couple of times for helping in the kitchen. Despite that, happy memories.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Helen. Strangely close family were perhaps more of a source of tension for Jenny. 3 partners over the years, 2 married and subsequently divorced, both ultimately shunned because of their behaviour. And then one looked after because of his increasing needs, her partner Lee. And of course 2 children in the 1970s by her then husband, also called David, Dan and Kate. So as retirement approached, she gradually spent more time in Blockley to be near her grandson Morgan. Firstly buying the tiny weekend cottage, then a larger one as retirement came in Norfolk Terrace. And finally a dormer bungalow more suited to Lee's needs and providing her with a super workroom. Many of you will have seen the prolific range of patchwork and other needlework that she has produced. Little did she or we realise that her breast cancer would return. We thought it had been thoroughly dealt with 29 years before. But diagnosed in February of her 80th year, she'd already booked Tarleton House nearby for a week-long series of parties with groups from different sections of her life. We were in considerable doubt that to March that she would make it to August, but typical Jenny, she ploughed on with arrangements and it was a roaring success for her, and many here will remember it. Personally, I will always remember it for arriving to find her flat out on a sun lounger, rebuilding her strength when normally she'd have been busy organising everyone and everything. She did, however, manage to call out the odd order to family and friends alike. We never believed for a moment that she would live on for over 3 years, but that was the sort of spirit she always had, never to be defeated. But time took its toll, and it was extremely sad for all of us to see her decline into relentless discomfort and pain, ever more invasive. So the end was reached, fighting almost to the end, wanting out of the lovely Morton Hospital, but with a quiet and apparently peaceful last day shared with Dan Cow, possibly having made her own decision as ever. But of course it took us all by surprise. So we mark her passing today, recognising that she left her very positive mark on the world, on hundreds, if not thousands of children, on dozens of colleagues, and all the rest of us, family and friends. Jennifer Mary Berry, Scobie, Bruce, 1942 to 2025. Thank you.
This is my bit. I wrote this all by myself and everything. So my phone's not going to stop working. I wrote this ages ago and I didn't know what everybody else was going to be saying. So I'd like to start by thanking everybody for joining us here today. It's ace. Some people have come a very long way. We are here to celebrate the life of a woman well lived. And in no chronological order, my word association for my mum Jenny is Italy, panini stickers, Modena, Alfredo. Exactly, see, it's panini stickers. Teacher and then a head teacher. And on that subject, she would arrive home on a rainy day, not in a great mood, because her kids had been inside all day. And she wasn't referring to me and Dan. She also used to talk about her head, but not the thing on her shoulders. She was good at cooking, but not a good cooker. She had no level in home economics. It was the era. Spaghetti bolognese. The number of people who have contacted me since she died said, I remember being at your house and eating spaghetti bolognese. Tuna fish special in the New Forest, in a tent in the rain. Her infamous rum and raisin cheesecakes. I am now the custodian of the recipe, a real family heirloom, and no, you can't have it. A Rimtoft, which came with a do not drive home notice. Baking cakes for all the cake stalls at school, Christmas cakes and mince pies. As kids, we went camping in the New Forest, the Isle of Wight, and the Isle of Wight, amongst others. This involved a tent that had everything in it, including the kitchen sink. It was a second-hand job lot. It was orange, with curtains. She was on committees, the PTA, Bad Company, Block Shop and Cafe. We can probably stand here all afternoon and go on about the committees that she was on. She was a quilter. That's one of hers over there. She was a potter, all her pots in the garden down the road in Blockley, and a lasagna dish that fitted the pasta sheets exactly, amongst others. She was a knitter. She would be restless in the evenings and it would give her something to do. She loved gardens and gardening. She was a decorator and a tiler. She was a campaigner. We went on several marches as kids, the CND. She went to Greenham. She tried to save the ILEA and the GLC, and she was my mum.
So, the last thing to say to everybody is, again, just how grateful we are for the lengths that some people have gone to join us here. We are hugely grateful for all of your presence, for making the effort and being with us. We do have some bites which are being provided by Craig from the from Blockley Cafe, keeping it local as ever. And we do hope you'll stay with us for a while onward. But once again, on behalf of the whole family, thank you all so much. Thank you.